Hi, I'm Colin and welcome to How to Paint Watercolours. So if you're ready, we'll get started and we'll paint this one. Hello YouTubers and welcome back to my channel, How to Paint Watercolours with me, Colin. I'd like to welcome any new subscribers that we have. A big thank you to all my regular subscribers who watch these. I hope you enjoy these. I picked a winter scene for this one and I'll tell you what the plan is. I'll put a glow in the sky around about here, bringing the light down over these trees. I've masked out some areas that I want to keep clean in case I want to use them later, and the rocks, and hopefully we'll be able to put some highlights on that. Quick run round of the colours. We have Naples yellow, cadmium red and French ultramarine, a thicker cadmium red in French ultramarine, burnt umber, French ultramarine, cadmium red and yellow ochre. And with that we'll get started. Naples yellow in the sky there, just for a bit of a glow. Just mix up my cadmium red and French ultramarine. I've stretched my paper, means I wet it both sides. I always have put the masking fluid on after I've stretched the paper. That will stop it cockling. That's a tip for you. And I'll bring it into the yellow a little bit. This is the stronger of the two, French ultramarine and cadmium red. And you can see that. Remember, it will fade. I do want it dark around the highlights. Creating an interesting sky. Leaving some of the lighter areas, just pulling some cloud formations through, nothing spectacular. Darker in this corner. And I'm just going to allow all that to spread. I want to put some trees in the background, but it's a little too wet at the moment. So we're going to allow this to dry off. So we have to allow this to dry until the actual surface of this goes velvety. We'll allow that to dry off for a few minutes. I just want to put some, just test it first, see what the spread is like. Use the sky colour again, cadmium red, French ultramarine. Just put the impression of some evergreens in here. You have to dry off a little more. What I might do is just bring some, just thicken it up slightly. That might be better. Just adding some into the background as the brush runs out of paint. I'm just going to let that dry off a little bit more, and we'll just add a little bit more paint to these just to make the tops a little bit more defined. Yeah, that brings them out a little stronger. Take a little damp kitchen roll, just lift some off. Like that, and maybe just in the background with a damp brush we can just pick out, just lift a little paint out with a flat brush. It's damp, just to show some tree trunks. Now I'm going to let that dry. Now that your sky's dry and your trees are dry, I'll add a little water to these trees here. There's bushes at the back. We might do one at a time just to see how we go. I'll add a little yellow ochre to that to make it weak. Taking some of the cadmium red and French ultramarine. I'm going to add this into it, just allowing it all to merge. Pulling one or two leaves and branches out, make it interesting, allowing some light and dark patches. Take some of that colour and add some burnt umber to that, just to darken it. Touch of the cadmium red, French ultramarine. They're making a red, dark reddy, grey purple colour. Just bring some shadow into it. Taking a little bit of the yellow ochre again. Cadmium red, French ultramarine. Once again pulling some of the leaves into the light patches here. Taking some of the darker colour. Take a wet brush and just pull this in, softening off the bottom. Darker colour once again. A little bit of yellow ochre in this one, a little bit of yellow ochre here. The darker colour. Softening this in together. I'm going to let that dry. I think we'll begin to pull some of the banking out. So I'll move some of the sky colour in here. Bit of burnt umber to that. Some more cadmium red. That's ultramarine. I'm just going to place it into the banking here as it comes down towards the pond. I'll take a damp brush and some water on and just pull this out, allowing it to fade as it comes forward. Do a little bit at a time like this. Just allow the paint to do what it does naturally, which is run. I have got the board laying flat for this. And I'm going to leave that to dry. Okay, your paint is all nice and dry, and I've just removed the masking fluid, and now we're just going to add in some Naples yellow at the top of these trees, bushes should I say, just to knock the stark white out. It's not really calling for white snow. Yellow ochre just touched into that, just to deepen it. Drop the yellow ochre in. And just whilst it's still damp, take some cadmium red and ultramarine. I'll drop this in and just allow this to spread. Just softens that edge, the transition between the yellow into the bush. Bit of yellow ochre up the trunks of these trees. Cadmium red and ultramarine, and I'm going to drop this in it. Just want to bring some of this yellow ochre down into the ground. You can start to bring these trees out. Ultramarine, burnt umber, cadmium red, making a really nice dark purpley grey. I'm just adding it on one side of the tree and allowing it to drift over, just on the shadow side. Softening this once again. You're actually adding shadow to the snow without even painting snow and warming the painting up at the same time. Just got to turn this around because I find it's easier to do it this way. Just want to take a rigger brush and then we can begin to bring some winter branches out on these trees. Just giving them a swipe, just giving these a wiggle as we do it. Just adds life to your twigs. Just building up the bulk of the branches with this number 2 rigger. I'm going to move to a finer rigger. Just pulling these out further. Pull this one out a little higher. This can really take you some time. Adding a few tree trunks and branches in here. I think we'll just come to the water. So I'm just adding some water to the whole area. There is still masking fluid on these rocks. Taking our sky colour, French ultramarine and cadmium red. Just drop some of that in along there. Some of the Naples yellow. Back to the sky colour again. All horizontal strokes, all deliciously wet. Just mix the colour up, just to strengthen that up a little bit. French ultramarine, just drop it into that burnt umber, touch of cadmium red in it. Just where the bank is here, I'm just going to drop some colour in. Just for a reflection of the bank. Just a little bit of a thicker version. But once again, I want to darken the edges, just to pull your eye into the painting. Focus it a little bit. Now we're just going to let that dry for a moment or two, then we can add the reflections of the trees in. I've allowed that to dry off for quite some time, so I'm going to take some colours on the palette. Just the mixes of French ultramarine, cadmium red with a little bit of burnt umber in it. I'll test these for spread. So I'm just using the rigger brush for this because I don't know how far it's going to go. It's just a little bit more controllable. Trying not to add too much paint on. Don't Sometimes I end up with too large a spread. These don't have to be exact. Bring in a couple of branches out. Don't go wild. Little bush there. I don't want to put it all in. It starts to look too busy. And then we're going to let that dry. Now your water's dry, I'm just going to put some yellow ochre onto these rocks. I did actually remove the masking fluid, so I'll put some yellow ochre in here. Just on the light side, but I do want them to stand out a little bit. Darken this up. I just want to darken that a little further. It's almost to a black. I just want to take a little water, just touch that. Just try and bring a little reflection down. Add a little bit into it just to help it. And that's all I want to do to that. I'm going to let that dry. Now that the painting's completely dry, I've just scratched in the shoreline with a ruler and a craft knife, and I just want to bring out the distinction between the pond and the rocks. So I'm going to do the same here. And I want to put a little movement into the water once again. Maybe we'll have just a couple of birds in the sky. This is where you get around to sign it, mount it and frame it. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please click the like button and subscribe. Subscribers are always welcome. And if you would like to, you can check out some of the other videos I made for YouTube. But once again, I'd like to thank you very much for watching. Thank you.